What agency you with?
I'm the state attorney.
Same thing. All right. Thank you. Your tag didn't come back. Never seen that before. I'm sorry?
I'm like the state
Yeah. We're good now.
Roll it down?
Why do you pull me over?
I'll tell you that if you roll it down.
Why can't you tell me now?
I'm a lawyer. I know my rights.
Okay.
I'm not violating any law. I'm on my property. There's no suspicion. No one called anybody. So don't have my ID.
These people are stalwarts of the law, students of the game, and these crooked cops are about to find out just why they shouldn't be messing with them. On a chilly March 22nd in 2009, an Oklahoma Police Department officer approached a lone man sitting in his truck. The vehicle looked somewhat out of place. The officer informed the man, who introduced himself as Grant, that his truck had been flagged as suspicious by concerned locals. As part of standard procedure, the officer requested Grant's ID. Grant, however, firmly refused, insisting he had done nothing wrong. The officer, now slightly wary, explained that Grant was under investigation detention, a measure taken due to the multiple calls received about his vehicle. Grant, standing his ground, argued that sitting in his truck in a residential area was not a crime. The officer, trying to keep things calm, reiterated his request for identification.
Well, if I'm making contact with you for a reasonable suspicion call like I am right now.
Being suspicious is a misdemeanor or felony.
Okay. Well, sir, here's the deal. I was called on you, okay? For a suspicious vehicle, you said yourself you don't live over here, you have a purpose. What's your purpose? Is the purpose legal or illegal?
That's for you to determine.
Okay. So for me to determine that, I need to see your ID.
How is my ID going to determine whether I'm...
Well, it helps to let you know who I'm dealing with. Let you know who I'm dealing with.
But my name doesn't tell you whether I'm...
Yeah, it would tell me, like, if I don't know if you belong over here. You said you don't, so I don't know if someone over here's got a VPO or something against you, and if you got your ID
Did
or
I
something.
say I didn't belong over here?
You said you had a purpose.
I don't live over here.
Okay.
Okay. I do belong
Okay.
here.
All right.
So, that's as far as I'm willing to take it.
So you're not willing to give me your ID?
I don't have any reason to.
Okay. Well, do you have a reason for being over here?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can I know that reason?
No.
Okay.
As the exchange grew more intense, the officer radioed in, updating dispatch on the situation. He assured Grant that this was merely a precaution to ensure the neighborhood's safety, not an attempt to infringe on his rights.
Date of birth then, because I have to run it with a name and date of birth.
I'm not going to answer that question.
So you're telling me how I should do my job, yet you're not allowing me to do my job.
I'm standing up for my rights.
And I understand that, like I said.
I haven't done
but
anything wrong.
I'm doing my job,
Okay, I
conducting an
haven't
investigation.
I haven't committed a crime. I'm sitting here in front of a house, which is perfectly legal.
The conversation continued, with Grant growing increasingly frustrated as the officer insisted on seeing his ID. The officer, maintaining his professional demeanor, tried to explain the necessity of the identification for the investigation.
Because this is the city of Blanchard Road, so therefore make a city of city road, right?
What are you trying to accomplish?
What I'm trying to, all I want to do, sir, is
not
identify you.
committing an ID.
Okay.
Okay, I haven't done anything illegal.
Okay. Well then,
You understand that by not identifying yourself appropriately as requested by the officer is illegal.
it's
Okay.
obstruction.
That's a secondary charge. Okay, I have to be, for you to ID me in the state of Oklahoma, okay, I have to be suspected of committing a crime, about to commit a crime.
Well, you are committing a crime. You're trespassing.
As the minutes ticked by, another officer joined the scene, explaining to Grant the legal grounds for their actions. Despite their efforts, Grant's refusal persisted. The officers, now with a potential obstruction charge on their hands, decided to take Grant into custody, stressing that this was the last resort. "You're obstructing us from doing our duty," the officer said as he placed Grant in handcuffs. "We just need to confirm who you are and why you're here."
Somebody placed into our police department of a suspicious vehicle and person inside that vehicle. We therefore have the right to come investigate that.
Okay, is
By
being
that
suspicious.
being the
Let him finish,
by
sir.
that being the case, we are here investigating that, and in order and part of that investigation, we can identify you and request
You
your
can ask.
identification.
You may ask all you
And
want.
you are also required
I
by
am
law,
not required by law.
upon request.
If I
upon
show you the state
ID
statute
yourself.
that you're required to do that, will you give me your ID?
Absolutely. Show me the statute.
Give me 1 second. I'm curious why a man from Oklahoma City is parked on a dead-end road in Blanchard, and he has no. I ask him if he lives here, and he says I don't answer questions.
Yeah. So,
He asked if he was free to leave, and I said not at this time. I have my emergency equipment activated, and I'm trying to investigate.
well, I'll tell you what. If you're going to drive away, that's what or when you're driving he's operating a motor vehicle. But you don't have a credit line.
Well, I follow him out of town until I get one.
And that is just how low this cop was willing to go to have something on Grant.
I know you've
Don't
been
answer
doing
the questions. Go ahead and just walk me out.
What are you arresting him for? What are you arresting him for? What are you arresting him for?
Huh?
He hasn't violated really a crime yet, so not
Are you investigating a crime? Or possible crime?
possibly.
Okay,
suspicious
he's
vehicle.
obstructing an officer from doing his duty, right?
Okay.
Said you're meeting somebody here in a few minutes?
You have the legal right to make contact with you based on call.
And I don't
And
have
you're
to
obstructing
answer
that.
questions.
I'm not here to listen to you. I'm here to tell you what's going on. Okay? I don't care if you record me.
Just hold. Hold on, Tim.
We
I
are
don't
ours
care.
are recorded
Okay,
too.
you're obstructing an officer from doing his duty, so now you're under arrest, unless you want to cooperate. Okay? That's the way. Have a nice day.
Would you like to explain the address and the time on the folder inside your vehicle with the camera?
I don't answer questions.
Okay.
Look,
You can
man.
identify yourself.
Look, man.
They didn't ask a question. Hey,
Can you please take your hands out of your pockets for me? Thank you.
Look, all I'm trying to do, man, if you're PI, no big deal. We'll get out of here. We gotta confirm who you are, make sure, especially with the camera car, make sure you're not doing peep and Tom stuff, okay?
Not a PI. So the only thing you can have a camera for is if you
No.
if you're a PI.
No, that's not what I'm saying, sir.
Okay,
What
insurance
I'm-
adjusters
sir,
aren't allowed to have
Are
a
you an
camera
insurance adjuster?
to take photographs of damage and stuff.
Are you an insurance adjuster?
I possibly might be.
Okay. Do you have any proof of that?
Okay, but I mean,
I'm
why
just
do I have to
saying.
answer questions?
I'm
I'm
just-
here for a legal reason.
Even in custody, Grant maintained his silence, refusing to answer further questions. The officers, bound by their protocol, continued with their duty, hoping that the situation would de-escalate without further incident. The police tell Grant to get out of his car and arrest him. When one officer asks his partner why Grant is being arrested, the other officer says Grant is blocking their investigation. Eventually, though, no charges were brought against him, and that is purely because he knew what he was doing. It was an ordinary morning commute for Aramis Ayala as she drove to work. But this wasn't just any woman heading to her job. She was the state attorney, and the officers who pulled her over were about to realize their mistake. As one of the cops approached her window, he asked, "What agency are you with?" "I'm the state attorney," she replied calmly, handing over her ID.
What agency are you with?
I'm the state attorney.
Same thing. All right. Thank you. Your tag didn't come back. Never seen that before. I'm sorry?
I'd like to see
Yeah. We're good now.
In an instant, the officer's demeanor shifted, realizing he had stopped Florida's first black state attorney. He quickly slipped into panic mode. He stammered out an apology and hurriedly offered an explanation for the stop, something he hadn't bothered to do before.
It was
We ran the tag. I've never seen it before. A Florida tag. It's never come back to anything before. So that's the reason for the stop.
Ayala listened to the cop's fumbling attempt at justification, her expression remaining composed but unimpressed. She knew exactly what was happening. She was being racially profiled. The officer's sudden change in behavior only confirmed it.
what was the tag run for?
I'm sorry?
What was the tag run for?
Oh, we run tags all the time, whether it's at traffic lights and that sort of stuff. That's how we figure out if, cars are stolen and that sort of thing. Also, the windows were really dark. I don't have a tint measurer, but that's another reason for the stop.
With a cool, measured tone, Ayala proceeded to educate the officer on the implications of his actions. It was clear she wasn't accepting his weak explanation, and her authority left the officer visibly squirming.
You guys have cards on you?
Yeah, 1 second. Actually, this isn't my car, but I can write my name down if you'd like.
Yeah, he put my name on it.
Five, seven. Ready? There you are. Have a good day.
As Ayala drove away, it was evident these cops were going to have a lot to answer for. Their superiors would probably undoubtedly hear about this incident, and the ensuing conversation wouldn't be pleasant. For now, though, it was deeply satisfying to see the officers uncomfortable under the weight of their mistake. In this gripping legal battle, defense attorney Larry Foreman found himself facing off not just against the prosecution, but also against other attorneys to protect his client charged with a DUI. Determined to fight the charges in court, Foreman meticulously prepared his defense knowing his stakes were high.
Would you estimate how many DUI stops or investigations you've been a part of since being with Radcliffe, at least?
Approximately 25.
Okay, just over the past year or so that
Yes.
you've been, all right. Now, did you have specialized training in DUI investigations?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
just what they have at the DOC.
At the academy, though?
Yes, just the
All right.
2 weeks of DUI training.
As the trial unfolded, the prosecution called an officer involved in the case to the stand. The officer's fluency and ease in answering the prosecution's simple questions seemed almost too perfect, raising Foreman's suspicions. Witnesses rarely appeared this calm and confident, prompting Foreman to approach his cross-examination with a sharp, direct manner.
Officer Sutherland, did you, prior to your testimony, which began at approximately 3:10 p.m., have you had any conversation with the prosecutor?
Excuse me. I can't see the witness.
During the proceedings, the prosecution attempted to disrupt Foreman's rhythm by asking him to move the podium just as he posed a critical question. Had the officer spoken with the prosecution beforehand? This could have been a genuine request, but it also smacked of a tactic to throw Foreman off his game.
Have you had any conversation with the prosecutor?
Yes, I have had conversation, and he made it very clear that we are not to discuss anything that was happening.
Undeterred, Foreman repeated his question slowly and deliberately, emphasizing its importance. The officer's response, that while she had spoken with the prosecution, they hadn't discussed the trial, only heightened Foreman's suspicions. This attempt to clarify the nature of their conversation was a major misstep, causing doubt on the officer's credibility.
While you're outside, how many additional police cruisers arrived on scene?
I don't recall any other cruisers that were on the scene. I looked at our dispatch calls for service logs. I didn't see anybody else call out there, and we have a very strict policy. If your boots hit the ground, radio better know where you're at. And I don't recall anybody else calling out there. I don't remember seeing any other vehicles in the area.
So it is your testimony to these, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today, that there were only 2 police cruisers at 1204 West Lincoln Trail Boulevard at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, that's what that's.
Thank you.
Throughout the prosecution's questioning, the officer demonstrated an impressive recall of details. Yet when Foreman began his cross-examination, asking for specific information, the officer's memory conveniently faltered. She frequently claimed not to recall, a flimsy tactic meant to protect her in a case her testimony was later proven false. It was clear to Foreman that the officer was trying to safeguard herself, sensing the prosecution's case might collapse.
I'd like to discuss very briefly, you have followed Lieutenant McLeod's SUV as he was leaving, correct? No. You were not at the scene where the field sobriety tests were conducted by Mr. Symington.
Showed up after. It was, I don't know the exact time, but I stayed behind while he left, and I had heard his location on the radio, so shortly after he had began his traffic stop, I had headed in his direction.
Did you talk to anyone on scene?
Let's see. I think there were some passengers, but I don't remember what our conversation was.
You don't recall ever saying to one individual, this is bullshit, pardon my language, he should fight this, meaning he, Mr. Symington?
No, at no point in time did I say that.
That's all the questions I have, Judge.
Foreman, recognizing this vulnerability, strategically chose not to overplay his hand. He didn't dispute the officer's claims directly. Instead, he subtly planted seeds of doubt in the jury's mind. By highlighting the officer's inconsistent memory and leaving her dubious statements hanging, he set the stage for his final, decisive evidence. While the conclusion of the case isn't detailed, Foreman later confirmed publicly that they had emerged victorious. His strategic cross-examination and keen sense of timing had paid off, ensuring his client received the protection and justice they deserved. In the next case, we meet a First Amendment auditor, someone who knows the law better than most, unfortunately for this cop. Here we have a First Amendment auditor who is well versed in his rights and an arrogant cop who thinks he knows everything. The only outcome is a confrontation that is about to unfold.
Roll down?
Why do you pull me over?
I'll tell you that if you roll it down.
Why can't you tell me now?
From the get-go, this interaction is rocky, and it's only going to get worse.
Because the reason I pulled you over is you were yelling something from your car.
So what?
Huh?
So what? That's why you pull me over, because I'm yelling?
I don't know if you're in need of help or anything.
Oh, I don't need help.
The auditor politely declined the officer's help, making it clear he didn't need any assistance. You'd think that would be the end of it, but the cop decided to play the classic, you didn't use your turn signal card. Little did he know, this man was prepared.
Let me see your driver's license real quick.
I don't need help.
Okay, can I see your driver's license?
What for?
Did you use the turn signal when you made a turn?
Of course I did.
Let me see your driver's license.
You can hear the sound on the dash cam too.
Let me see your driver's license.
Reluctantly, the auditor agreed to show his driver's license, but even that wasn't enough. The situation quickly escalated.
You can just crack your window if that's what you want to do.
It's already cracked.
I can't see that.
Well,
This thing.
it doesn't matter. Here. I don't wish to answer questions.
The auditor, fully aware that he was stopped without a valid reason, stood his ground. The officer, likely aware he was in the wrong, didn't want to back down either. What followed was a masterclass in knowing and asserting one's rights.
Calm down, let me know if there's a weapon in the car. Did you not take the class?
I did.
Did they tell you you have to tell them?
When you demand identification, I have to display this. That's what they told me in the class, that's what the law says.
The officer wants to take the weapon.
And actually, if I don't display, there's really not much you can do because there is no penalty attached to that. I have to carry this if I'm carrying this.
Are you carrying?
I don't answer questions.
Okay, so if you have a weapon in the car, then what?
You got one on your hip. So what?
According to Texas law, the auditor was correct. All he needed to do was show his ID card and nothing more. Faced with someone who knew the law inside and out, the officer had no choice but to walk away, thoroughly schooled and defeated.
I'm a lawyer. I know my rights.
Okay.
I'm not violating any law. I'm on my property. There's no suspicion. No one called anybody. So don't have my ID.
On a warm afternoon in Westerville, civil rights attorney Emmanuel Olawale was minding his own business, disposing of trash in a bin he owned. It was July 10th, 2021, a day that took an unexpected turn when two Westerville police officers pulled up behind him.
If you need my
Alright.
ID,
Huh?
I'll show you my ID.
If you don't mind, just so, yeah, if you don't mind, can we see your ID?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, that is pretty cool. That's a slick business card.
Yep.
All right. I'll give it to him. You can keep doing what you're doing. We're just, again, we're kind of concerned. Yeah, seeing somebody dump up
Just,
just up there. So, okay.
Can I have your back? Just don't run it.
Oh.
Don't have to, don't run my card. Don't run my ID.
Huh?
Don't run my ID.
Don't run your ID?
At first, the interaction appeared friendly and respectful. The officers chatted with Olawale and asked for his ID. However, when one officer handed the ID to his partner to run a check, Olawale firmly said no. That's when the situation began to deteriorate.
We'll at least mark it down. We're going to take down your information.
Nope. I'm on my property. Putting trash in mine.
Okay, but this is not just your property. It's several people's property.
I understand.
Okay.
But I'm not violating any law. So don't
No
run
one
my
said
ID.
that you're violating any law.
No. Don't run my ID. I'm a lawyer. I know my rights.
Okay.
I'm not violating any law. I'm on my property. There's no suspicion. No one called anybody. So don't run my ID. I only identify myself so that this won't escalate.
That's fine, but we can still mark down who we're out with, and so that's what we're going to do.
No.
Yes.
You didn't stop me. Don't turn this into an issue.
Sir, you are turning this into an issue. We're just simply marking down who we're out with.
Yeah.
So he's just going to write it down on a piece of
Oh,
paper.
it's just your name.
Why?
Because, sir, we are out with you because we were concerned that you were illegally dumping.
But you already discovered. Do you want me to show you my office?
I understand that you're here, but I don't know if this dumpster belongs to you or somebody else in the
It belongs to me.
To you and you alone.
Yes.
Can you prove that that dumpster belongs to you and you alone?
Olawale was unwavering in his refusal to let the officers run his ID, a stance well within his rights since he was not lawfully detained. His experience as a civil rights attorney had taught him that in such situations, especially when racial profiling might be at play, standing firm was crucial.
If it's also other units...
So what? It belongs to everybody. We're paying for it. It doesn't really matter if it belongs to all the units.
That's fine.
Just give me back my ID.
Despite Olawale's clear assertion of his rights, the officer seemed intent on pushing boundaries. They eventually returned his ID, but not before retreating to their cruiser, contemplating their next move. It was a tense moment that highlighted a troubling reality for many, the lengths some officers might go to incriminate an innocent person.
Turn around and get out of here, and then we'll... Yep.
As are my hands.
As of now, it remains unclear if Olawale has filed a formal complaint or spoken with the Westerville Police Department about his concerns. Nevertheless, his steadfastness in the face of potential misconduct was a powerful stand against what was a crooked behavior by two officers. What we've learned so far is that cops, having been given a position of service, often consider it a position of power. They belittle and manipulate, trying to get people to bend to their will. But there are some people better at their game than they are themselves. These heroes are a shining example in just how cops do not stand a chance when you know what you're talking about. With that being said, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching.